Hello and welcome to an episode of Atomic Vinyl Reviews. My name's Jacob and today I've got another exciting unboxing for you guys. So I got this lovely package from Amazon. It came all the way from the United States of America. The interesting thing is I almost never buy from Amazon. In fact, this is the first time I've bought something from Amazon for years and years and years actually. I think the last time I probably bought anything from them was maybe some Monster Arts figures in 2014, which gives you guys kind of an idea. The reason I bought from them is because it seemed to be the cheapest place or the most cost-effective place to get this particular figure, because I couldn't find it anywhere here locally in Australia, at least not for a decent price. And I've been so excited for this one. When I first saw the images of this thing released, like way back when it was only up for pre-order and stuff like that, I really liked the look of this figure. It just looked really aggressive and cool and awesome, and I'm a big fan of this movie. So this, of course, is going to be the werewolf from American Werewolf in London, and the figure is by NECA. So let's just get right into it. We're going to open up the box, see what we got, how this figure looks. Very exciting. So I'm a big fan of American Werewolf in London. It's one of my favorite werewolf movies. I'm a big fan of werewolf movies in general, but I think American Werewolf in London and Ginger Snaps are probably my two favorites. Of course, I'm a big fan of the director John Landis, who directed Blues Brothers and a bunch of other great classic films. So this is, yeah, really exciting. It's a little different from the stuff I normally do too, because normally it's exclusively kaiju related stuff or occasionally alien, predator, stuff like that. But today we got something a little bit different. And already here you can see the beautiful box art. So recently NECA have really stepped up their game with their packaging, and by recently I mean over the last couple of years. Because, you know, back in the day NECA figures had those really plain clamshell, clear plastic kind of packages. But now pretty much everything they do is done in these lovely cardboard boxes with really great poster art on them, and they actually have just really well-designed packaging for pretty much all their figures. There we go. What's this? Probably an invoice. Yep. Get rid of that. Nothing else in here? No. Cool. Alright, so we got our lovely box here already. I'm loving the poster art design on the front. Just look at that. We got the big werewolf eyes in the sky. Got our two main characters here trudging through the marshes of Great Britain somewhere, as they did in the beginning of the movie. Really cool, really ominous. This is just something that you really could just display on its own or next to the figure in your collection. It's really well done. On the side here, we got our werewolf face just looking really menacing. You can see it's really just a very exaggerated monstrous creature, especially with those bloody looking gums and the huge teeth and those striking eyes. Around the back here, we got some more shots of the figure. I'm sorry about the glare in the video here. My lighting's not particularly great at the moment, but I'm trying to improve it at the moment. So we'll see. And around this side we got the other face, because this werewolf comes with two faces, so the jaw actually isn't articulated. You actually have to swap out the heads to have like a closed mouth and an open mouth, from what I understand. But at least that saves this figure having that like seam line in the jaw where the actual mouth would normally articulate. So that's probably for the best. We'll see when we actually open it up. And now, another exciting thing about these NECA figures, they tend to have these, which is a little Velcro piece, which allows us to open it up, and we can actually see the figure in here. Oh, so there it is. That is a big figure. It's a little dark in here, so it's kind of hard to actually see the details of this guy in full, but already just seeing the general shape of it and the texture of the fur and everything looks really cool. And we've got again another striking image of this werewolf kind of peering out from the darkness here. That's very good, very cool. Let's open it up. I'm probably just gonna put a little slice through this tape at the bottom here, and that'll allow us just to open the figure up. Oh, and this one actually has credits to the people who made this thing. So sculpting Kyle Windrix. Nice. Because sometimes these NECA figures, even though they have great sculpts, they completely omit who sculpted them. So that's really cool. And we actually have the photography and the package design and all that sort of stuff. So that's really cool. There you guys go. Hopefully you can actually read that now. We're opening this up really carefully here. There we go. Smells very plasticky. I haven't even fully opened it yet, but it already has a refresh smell to it. And we just slide them out right here. Real nice. Actually, I'm curious what this cardboard backing is in here, because it was very dark, so I couldn't really make it out from the box. Probably going to hate myself for this, because it's going to be a little bit of a pain to slip this back in. But, for the sake of the video, let's have a look. It just looks like a brick alleyway with some trash in it. But still, cool little display thing right here. Nice. And here we have a werewolf. Oh, that looks really cool. Already I can tell I am a big fan of this one. Check it out. There he is. That is a very chunky figure. I was actually looking at some of my NECA figures the other day that I don't actually have over at this place. They're still back in my old place because I don't have all my figures here. And I have like the Ultimate Deluxe Alien Queen from NECA. As well as a lot of their other alien figures. And they really do some cool stuff if they put their minds to it. But this one's, yeah, one of the sort of fairly large figures, which is really cool. Nowhere near as big as that Alien Queen or some of their quarter scale figures. But for a 7-inch scale figure, it's really chunky. Just undoing some of these wires. I'm going to just skip ahead to this part probably. Lovely. Then it just pops out like so. Okay. Nice. Okay. So, already I can feel that the fur in a lot of parts on this figure is made of a much softer sort of rubberized plastic, like this collar around here. That's really cool. It gives you a little bit more articulation from that point. That's really nice. This fur down here is also just sort of dangling around. It feels fairly soft. So he's made of sort of a harder plastic around this joint and his legs and everything. That's really good. That's really cool. I love the texture of the sculpt on this thing. Sculpt in general is really nice. Wow. Interesting thing about this werewolf is, unlike a lot of werewolves, he has a much more slouched posture. He's more quadrupedal. So this werewolf isn't really one of those werewolves that stands up like a human. This is a four-legged beast. So let's adjust the focus here and I can actually show you the figure. Look at that. That's why I had to get this thing. Just the face on this one. Such a great werewolf design, and those really over-the-top teeth. It's very unique and very iconic looking. Look at the shaggy fur around the neck here, like a mane. Really cool, really aggressive, and just really striking. Really great work sculpting those teeth. They're nicely sculpted, really sharp look to them, and they have this sort of gloss paint coat on them, which makes them look really, really nice. They stand out really well. There's even a gap between the two jaws there, even on the closed mouth version, so that's actually really well done to give this guy some dynamics for this sculpt. And check out those lovely, striking yellow eyes. I hope they're coming out really nice on camera, just like they are in person. I love all the crease lines around his face here, around the nose and the eyes. They really, really give us a good sense of emotion from this guy. Really cool. And we come around to his body. He's got a really big upper torso, really full of fur. But then he's got these really sort of slender limbs and lower body. I wonder how well this thing will stand, actually. The joints on this guy feel nice and firm. They feel like they hold pretty well. And there's some ratcheting going on in some of these joints, like here. You can feel that. So that's going to help a lot with getting this guy to stand. But these paws, they look a little tricky to align. just the way they're done. Me knowing a few other NECA figures, I can kind of tell it's going to be a little tricky to get them to sit perfectly flat in exactly the pose that you might want. But I think it's doable, and from what I've seen in other people's reviews, it has been a little tricky, but also doable. Look at that. Just very nice. It's the underside of the werewolf here. Cool. So what we're going to try to do, we're going to try to swap out the head. So I'm going to see how tricky it is to pop this off. I'm just going to hold the collar back here and see if I can pull it up. The head is also, at least around the edges, feels more rubbery than your typical NECA figure. There we go. That pops off pretty easy. You can see it's actually a kind of a composite of different plastics. We got the softer rubbery around the outside and this harder plastic on the inside here. Interesting. That looks really cool. Alright, there's the ball joint. So let's get the other face. So I just got him actually standing off screen, and he is standing without a problem. His paws aren't perfectly flat on the ground, but I think with some finagling I can get that to look really good. So no problems there. His legs do support him. They're quite strong. There's his other face. We'll just slice that little rubber thing holding it in. And as if his first face wasn't already fearsome and angry enough, check out this thing. Look at that. That's just, oh god, his teeth look like they're covered in blood as well. They have like this red sheen over them as well. So yeah, this is a very, very fearsome and aggressive looking creature. Definitely a monster, more so than just like a creature. Yeah. Okay. Let's pop this on. You just got the ball joint back here. We just hold it firmly and yeah, and that popped on without any problems, and now we have a really, really aggressive looking werewolf here. Oh, that's really, really cool. Ah, I love it. Definitely one of the most scary looking figures in my collection, even even more so than a lot of the alien figures that we get from NECA and whatnot. Yeah, very excited to get this guy, and for a NECA figure, he was a bit on the pricey side, but then again, he is a much bigger figure, and just for the detailing and all the stuff on this guy, I think it is worth it. This guy is a really unique and awesome figure. And like I said, when I first saw the stock photos of this guy when they were announcing that this figure was coming out, I instantly knew that I had to pick this one up. It just looked that cool. So before I finish off this little unboxing, let's do some comparisons. I'm just going to bring in a couple of random figures that I can reach around me and pick out. Alright, the NECA Godzilla 1989 figures from Godzilla vs. Biollante. So we got a nice fairly sized Godzilla figure from NECA, and then we got the American Werewolf in London werewolf, or as it's actually called, just so I can actually be a bit more accurate, this figure is referred to as the Ultamate Kessler Wolf. So I think the character was called Kessler, hence the Kessler Werewolf. There we go. Nice size comparison between these two. Of course, Godzilla stands taller than this thing, but this one, you know, just in bulk, is really fairly large, even though Godzilla has a very chunky tail here. So this is an interesting comparison. What else can we quickly bring in? Got the Monster Arts Kong 2020 figure, or was it 2021 figure, from Godzilla vs. Kong. And this is how they compare. So again, this one's a fairly small figure compared to this one, which is a nice bulky figure. Again, not NECA's biggest. Like, even if I tilt my camera upwards and you look, ignore that mess. Right up there, you got the, right on the top right-hand side, you got the big quarter-scale alien up there next to the big Mezco Kong. So that's kind of the thing that NECA are capable of when they really put their minds to it. but nonetheless, still a nice big chunky figure. And just since this is what I have on hand, I can bring in the Bandai Movie Monster Series Anguirus figure from Godzilla Singular Point. And that's how these two scale. So we got another quadrupedal character to kind of compare this one to. And again, compared to a standard sort of 6-inch scale figure, this guy's quite big. That's real cool. So yeah, that is my unboxing and sort of initial review of this figure here of the American Werewolf and London Werewolf. And yeah, I'm really impressed by this thing. I think this is one of NECA's better figures, in all honesty. I really love this creature's design, and I think the figure itself came out really well. Sculpt, impeccable. Articulation is actually pretty decent on this thing. There's great range of movement for the head, considering the way that it's really sort of... oh no. Okay. Maybe it does have some minor issues here and there. But I think the head, considering how short sort of the neck is, actually has a pretty good range of articulation, because it does have this really rubbery fur around here to give it lots of articulation. The rest of his limbs feel nice and firm in the way they move, so they will hold him up really well, but they're also articulated really nicely. They have lots of joints in there and do what you want. And in general, this thing looks really awesome. Paintwork's nice and clean, and just generally pretty well done. So yeah, I'm going to give this guy a strong recommend. I think it's a really cool figure. So yeah, that is it for this unboxing. I hope to see you on my future videos, but until then, may all your vinyl be irradiated vinyl. Over and out. Bye.